Castle scored 32, Wemby scored 19 on the same defense. Same team, same gym, same closeout, different chalkboard. Castle's line, 11 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 30 minutes of court. Wemby's line, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks, 27 minutes, doubled every catch. 3 more minutes of clock, 13 more points. The franchise player got every help defender in the gym. The sophomore got every open shot. By halftime, Minnesota's season was already decided. By the third quarter, Target Center had emptied. This is the story of how Minnesota's scouting report ended their own season. The Wolves built Stephon Castle's career night out of a coverage they refused to change for 48 minutes. Let's start with Game 6, May 15th, Target Center. The series was San Antonio's to close. Minnesota walked in with a 4-day scouting plan: double Wembanyama on every elbow catch, send the strong side helper, cap the franchise player, live with whoever gets the kick out. The decision was rational on its face. Wemby is the gravitational center of the San Antonio offense. The Wolves had won enough games this series to believe their coverage held up. They walked in confident. The cost of that decision is a single open man. In this scheme, the cost was Castle on the wing. First 3, made. Second 3, made. Third 3, made. The Wolves did not adjust. 12 minutes into Game 6, Castle had 14 points, 3 of 3 from beyond the arc, a 3-point play stacked on top, 14 points in 12 minutes on a coverage Minnesota had committed to running for the full 48. That is the first quarter down. Castle's 14-point quarter is not heat check variance. It is the result of a defense engineered to send every help defender to the wrong man for 12 straight possessions. The Wolves had timeouts. They had bench looks at the chalkboard. They had a coaching staff that had spent 4 days studying the Spurs' kickout pattern. None of that information made it onto the floor in the first quarter. The double team on Wemby fired every possession. The kickout off the double fired every possession. Castle's release fired every possession. By the time Minnesota looked up, the game was already decided. The first quarter ended with the Spurs ahead, and the chalkboard already read closeout. Castle scored 32. Wemby scored 19 on the same defense. The double team is only half the failure. The other half is the weak side rotation that never came. Minnesota's scheme had 2 parts on paper. Part 1, send the strong side helper to Wemby on every catch. Part 2, rotate the weak side defender to close out on the open kickout. Part 1 fired every possession. Part 2 never fired at all. The Wolves' help defender chose Wembanyama every possession. Even on the recovery, the rotation stayed home on Wemby's roll path instead of stunting toward Castle on the wing. Castle stood in the same spot. He shot the same shot, 11 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3. The Spurs ran the same action over a dozen times across the night. High post entry to Wemby, doubled, kick out to Castle, catch and shoot at 25 feet. Almost every release fell. The Wolves' answer to a franchise player was an open second option. They never recovered to the second option. The entire defense was looking the wrong way. And then look at what happened when the Wolves did shift help. Castle vacated to the corner. Wemby got the touch he was supposed to be stopped from getting in the first place. The rotation broke twice, once on the original double, once on every attempt to recover. The 6 assists in Castle's line are not an accident. Half of them came on the same mechanic in reverse. When the Wolves finally rotated toward Castle, he kicked to the next open man on the perimeter. One coverage decision produced 32 points and 6 assists. Minnesota lost the game twice on the same possession. Now put the 2 stat lines side by side. Castle, 32 points, 30 minutes, 11 of 16 from the field, 5 of 7 from 3, 68.8% shooting, 71.4% from beyond the arc. Wembanyama, 19 points, 27 minutes, 6 rebounds, 3 blocks, doubled every touch. 3 more minutes of court for Castle, 13 more points for Castle, a points per minute pace of 1.07, a 42 point per 36 minute rate in a closeout game. The film room miss compounded over 48 minutes. Minnesota's coaching staff had 4 days between Game 5 and Game 6. They had every Spurs possession from Games 1 through 5 to see the kickout pattern. They came out doubling. They watched Castle hit 3 threes in the first 12 minutes. They did not change the coverage. The minutes asymmetry shows the structural failure cleanly. Castle did not outscore the franchise player on a fourth-quarter heater. He did not outscore him on garbage time piling. He outscored him across the full 30 he was on the floor. 11 of 16 from the field is not a regression to the mean problem, it is a scheme problem. Castle took 22 shots of attention worth of equity. Every kickout off Wemby's gravity, he converted at 68%. That is what an undefended jumper looks like at scale. The Steelman writes itself, Castle just shot well, but the consequence the Steelman hides. Wemby also got capped at 19. The Wolves' double team did its surface job. It held the franchise player to a non-explosive line. The Wolves paid for it with a worse one. Total Spurs scoring from those two players, 51 points. Total Wolves answer, 0 adjustment. So here is the hypothesis the data is forcing. Minnesota's refusal to single cover, the second option, turned a closeout into a 30-point blowout. Castle's 32 was the price of doubling the wrong man for 48 minutes. The honest Steelman sounds like this. Castle just had a hot night. 5 of 7 from 3 is unsustainable. 11 of 16 from the field is a number any defense surrenders sometimes. The double team on Wembanyama was correct. He is the franchise player. He is the offensive engine. Sometimes the kickout man makes shots. You live with that math because the alternative is letting Wemby go for 40. The Steelman fails on the clock. 14 of Castle's 32 came in the first quarter. This was not a fourth quarter heater after a variance run. This was a coverage giving up the same shot in the same spot in the first 12 minutes. The Wolves then chose to keep giving up that same shot for 36 more minutes. They had timeouts, they had a halftime adjustment window. They did not switch coverage. That is not variance. That is a scout that refused to update mid-game. Minnesota's coaching staff had 4 days between Game 5 and Game 6. They watched the film. They saw Castle was the kickout. They came out doubling anyway. 12 minutes in, Castle had 14. They still kept doubling. By the time he had 32, the gym had emptied and the season was over. The Wolves built Stephon Castle's career night out of their own scouting report. The chalkboard was their own. 3 coverages, 3 failures. Coverage 1, the double team on Wembanyama, held for the full 48. The decision was made before tip-off and never revisited. Coverage 2, the weak side rotation, never closed. The help defender stayed on Wemby's roll instead of recovering to Castle's kickout spot. Coverage 3, the halftime adjustment, never came. 2 timeouts. 23 minutes of clock, 0 scheme change. 3 coverages, 3 failures. 1 sophomore turned them into 32 points and a Western Conference Finals berth. The chalkboard was always going to win. Minnesota just refused to redraw it. San Antonio gets Oklahoma City in the conference finals. The Thunder will not double Wembanyama. They have Chet Holmgren. They do not need the help, which means Castle will not see the same shot in the next round. The kickout that produced 32 will not be on the menu. The chalkboard has a new question for the next series. When nobody is doubling Wemby, where do Castle's points come from? Next episode of Chalk Tactics, we find out. Until then,